Welcome to the first book review of 2024. So I have a slightly different system from last year. So I have tried to put specific things that I want to mention for each book as kind of like a guide. So we'll have the title, a brief description, my rating of 1 through 5 because that's what most rating systems are. Why I gave it that rating, the intended audience, would I buy it, and then any other notes that I have for the individual book. So let's jump in to using my new system for the first book of the year, which is the Hedge, Druid's Craft by Joanna Van Der something. The brief description of this book is that it's an introduction to Hedge, Druid Craft, which I know is the title of the book, but really that's what it is. It's all about what being a druid is to her, and from her perspective, the emphasis is on the hedge, aka the in-between worlds, and she does have an influence from Wicca, though it is pretty slight, but occasionally you do see it cropping up here and there. I would rate this book out of the 1 to 5. This is definitely a 5-star book. The reason being, I was so inspired after reading this book. The writing is very well done. She has a way of explaining things which can be quite complex and makes it very understandable for the average person. She talks about her experiences, which are really interesting and relatable, and I'm just really excited to read more of her books. The intended audience for this one, I feel is anyone interested in hedge witchcraft, druidry, and or just witchcraft in general. I think it is aimed at beginners, but really, I think just about everyone will appreciate this work. And then for my random notes. So I love the ritual to enter the hedge, where you stand on your dominant foot, you cover your non-dominant eye, and you spin counterclockwise 3 times, and then you do whatever meditation, visualization you're doing, and then you repeat that process, but instead of going counterclockwise, you go clockwise when you're done. And all I could think of is this weird combo of Odin mixed with Loki. It's just so chaotic for obviously Loki's side of things. But the standing on one foot, having one eye, it gives Odin vibes, and I just absolutely loved it. I thought it was the most interesting way to enter into a sacred space. I have never seen anything like that in all of the books I've read. It was so different. And I absolutely love when you have a concept that you don't see often that's just a little weird but kind of cool. But also I could just picture me trying to do that at out in a yard or something, and the neighbors looking over and being like, what the hell are you doing? You're gonna get some odd looks doing it, but also it's just fun. The next point is that I just absolutely loved the prayers section in this book. They are focused on Bridget, which right now is fine because the next holiday is her day, which is Imbolc, which comes up on February 1st or 2nd, depending on your tradition. But they're so inspiring. The writing is just beautiful. There's nothing inherently wow, but at the same time, they're just really well written. And it doesn't you can okay, because I tried to read through one that I talk about on Patreon, I think on the 8th of this month. But I was reading through a book, and some of the lines are just so awkward, and you're just tripping over the words. And it's wow, this is something to never read out loud again, ever. This is the opposite. This book, it flows beautifully, which is, it's fitting when you work with Bridget, who is a poet of a deity. She's a poet of many, or she's a deity of many things, but one of her things is poetry, so naturally I would hope that words could flow nicely from you. But she's got a prayer upon rising, a daily prayer and meditation. She has a prayer for your home, before meals, at sunset, and then just before sleep. And I absolutely loved every single one of them. Really, this book, the only way I can describe it is not a way to describe it. But the reason I love this book so much is that reading through it, it just feels like a warm hug on a late spring day when all the flowers are blooming and the summer heat hasn't turned everything dead. Because here in Utah, summer is just all of the weeds are just brown and dried out. And it's before all of that happens, but it's warm outside, it's not cold. Everything's just green and blooming and lush, and it's just wonderful. That's what this book feels like, and I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if it's the words she uses, the way she presents things, the just flow of information, but like that's how it felt when I read this book. I didn't want it to end. I was really disappointed that it was so small, and like I want to read her other books because I'm hoping her other writing is going to have this same vibe. And again, I can't have words to describe it, but that's how this book comes across, and I absolutely love it. And I want to get her other books. Again, I'm hoping it's going to have the same vibe. This one was really, really good. From the other Pagan Portal books, I haven't always loved them because they usually have a very academic sense to it, and this didn't. It was just like, hey, let's just go chill in the garden for a while, which is amazing. I loved this book so much. Those are all of my thoughts for this book. I would love to know yours in the comments down below. Huge thank you, as always, to my patrons. If you want to support me and get access to exclusive content, I have extra book reviews. I'm starting on the Shadow Temple, which is actually the Shamanic Temple, but I call it the Shadow Temple book from Penzak. It's the third book in his training series. That starts up this month, and it's going to go all year. And then I've just got other things as well, random life updates, and then my audio book is still going up every week. So just a bunch of content over there if you want to check it out. And of course, here on the main channel, thank you for commenting, liking, subscribing. It really does help a lot. And of course, until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.